everybody, I'm Nikki, and since the winter of 2019 going into 2020, I've been living my unconventional dream of living out of my Prius full time to explore the Americas and its natural beauty. And now, I have my dog with me. He's been with me since September of 2020. My best friend, and now, my little car camper. That's his name, Camper.
Good morning, everybody. We are so excited because today we are driving to Chico, California to visit our friend PRIUS Off-Road because today we're getting the Prius lifted. I'm gonna take you through the day. We are gonna be the coolest Prius on the block, mister. I have my handy dandy assistant and best friend, Lauren. She has been living out of her van for 2 years and she has taught me so much. I love her.
About minimalism?
Minimalism, which I don't have. So step one, we are gonna empty out the car because in order to lift the car, you need to get here. So we're completely emptying this baby out. All of my things. Wow. This is so much stuff. Today I am with Eric from PRIUS Off-Road, and today we are gonna lift Hotel Prius.
We are.
Let's talk about the Prius and what we're doing today.
So we're gonna do a front and rear lift. It's 1.5 inches front and rear. They're essentially strut spacers, so they will allow for an oversized tire if you choose to run it, but a lot of our customers choose not to. And with our lift, you gain a lot of ground clearance and approach angle, departure angles. It also helps with towing, and if you have cargo racks on back, it doesn't affect fuel economy. So kind of a win-win all around.
So let's get to work.
Let's do it.
I'm so pumped.
You're doing all the work.
All right, here's the test. This is how low the Prius is, and everything is out of the car. So it goes to about, wow, that's crazy.
We are hoping that we don't have to take out my do-it-yourself bed platform because that's going to be fun. Might be able to get in through these panels, so let's take them out.
This isn't common. Typically on the Gen 3s, you do have to remove the rear seat and the rear container.
Whoever agrees.
Or Gen 2s, sorry. The Gen 3s you don't have to, the Gen 4s you don't have to, but on the Gen 2s you do. So the rear tends to be a little bit more difficult on the Gen 2s than the 3s and 4s, but still not overly complicated. So this adds a little bit extra with the sleeping platform, but we'll make it happen.
Yeehaw! We're gonna go off-roading!
I think it'll make your life a lot easier for all the places that you go.
Typically, you would take off this battery panel, which, by the way, everything right here is your battery, in order to change those to get in from the inside and the outside. PRIUS Off-Road are experts, and they found a way around that. We got one piece out.
A little more challenging as well.
I didn't screw it in, did I? Oh, good Nikki, she didn't screw it in!
You neglected to do something and it worked out better.
Tell me about it. All right, so with the air vent, you have to take an additional piece out. So I recommend just not having a bed platform. Just don't have one of those if you're gonna do this first. Do this before you make a bed platform. What a sexy setup, right?
Right? You did good.
Thank you. It was my first time doing woodwork. This is my low-key flex on how awesome I did with this. All right, so I have a leak, which is not a good sign. What shall I do about this?
So was your visit with your mom, was that for Thanksgiving? Is that, are you going to meet it somewhere else?
Wheels are off. We're gonna have a lift. We're gonna have a lift. Your leash is wet, but we're gonna have a lift.
Like after 100,000 miles, typically they're due for replacement. You're close to it.
On a Prius or in every car in general?
With any car, I mean, they're all rubber seals internally, so that controls how your dampening force of your wheels and how much bounce you get and all that stuff. So, especially with being off-road as much as you are and adventuring, right, good thing you did it.
These are the new ones, and these are the spacers, right?
Yep.
So this is what is lifting the Prius, or?
Lifting it, yep. So that goes between the top of the strut and your body and just essentially moves everything down 1.5 inches. Anytime you see these worn out, it's typically a good idea to replace them. Just basically dirt gets on these shafts and then it gets these seals kind of worn out and then they end up leaking over time. Also a good thing to check is the strut mounts. These ones aren't too bad, they do have a little bit of wobble in them, so it's probably about time to replace them, so it's a good idea. So yeah, we'll get rid of that.
Camper is not the only furry critter living in this Prius.
I don't even. This is. Look at it! Whoa! Are you kidding me? I'm mind blown. And it totally. Wow, that's crazy.
Do you think that has something to do with new suspension? So that 1.5 inch spacer, I feel like it actually did more than 1.5 inches. Is that?
So because your springs were so worn out, after 150,000 miles, like your springs have obviously settled and sagged, so these are starting out rejuvenated.
We're getting so high. That's amazing. It's so high.
It's crazy. Wow, besides the dent, this is sexy. Woo-hoo! Your first spin and make sure she sounds good, right? All right. Woo!
All right, I'm taking off to your house. Bye.
Prius is lifted. I love it. Thank you so much. So what are some frequently asked questions that you get? Let's say if somebody was thinking about getting their Prius lifted, what do they need to know? How does it affect the gas mileage?
So no, we don't typically see much of a reduction in fuel economy, if any. When you do oversized tires and more aggressive tires, you may see some reduction. But with just the lift alone, we're not seeing any reduction in fuel economy. So that's number one. Number two typically is, this is something they can do themselves. And if you are at all mechanically inclined, yes, it's a little intimidating your first time out, but with basic hand tools, you're capable of doing it in probably 3 to 4 hours plan.
Now, do you have a how-to or anything?
Yeah,
online?
on my website, there are instructional videos that walk you through step by step.
PriusOffroad.com if you do want to try to tackle it yourself, and hopefully you're near Chico, California if you mess it up.
Yep, and if not, you're welcome to come in here. We do offer installations. So if it's something that you do want to try doing, you can at least get an idea if that's something that you think you can handle. And if not, going to a shop and just getting a quote on strut replacement will essentially give you the same results for costs of doing the strut spacer installation because it's the same process.
For people who want to do a lift, is it possible to go higher? Is that a good or a bad idea? What are your thoughts on that?
You know, we kind of settled on the 1.5 inches. We initially tried to go higher. I did a 3-inch on my car initially, and it was overstressing all the components. We then stepped it down to a 2-inch, and even then you still had a lot of extra stress on the CV angles and suspension components. So 1.5 inches is kind of that sweet spot. We don't recommend going higher than that. There have been people that have done it, and you can get away with it, but it's just not something that we want to promote. And keeping safety and everything and tolerances is kind of our priority, so that's what we suggest.
Okay, cool.
Not with just the strut spacer. If you have the combination coil and strut spacer, which we plan on possibly doing later on the road, maybe, but for now, that's kind of what you're stuck with.
Very cool. Well, we'll look out for that, because who knows, maybe I'll have a crazy lift next time. I have Lauren, do you have any questions?
What do you enjoy about your lifted Prius?
You know, I'm a big outdoor enthusiast and adventure athlete, so I needed the extra height. I found myself driving thousands of miles on weekends to go base jump in Moab or up to Washington, and I didn't want to take my truck because of the fuel economy, and I wanted something that I could sleep in comfortably, but I needed just a little bit more ground clearance to get to the spots that I was going to jump at. So for me, it really opened the whole other avenue and whole other door for where the Prius is capable of going, and just really rounds out a really well-rounded vehicle. Get a lot of customers that don't really plan on going off-road, which that isn't the primary goal of it, even though it's in the name. Just being able to get around town and not bottom out in driveway approaches and speed bumps and curves and all that really is a benefit. So.
Yeah, I feel like you need to talk to Toyota, because Eric was saying, I feel like Prius should have put their cars on the market this way.
Yeah, I think the first thing I get people's reaction is that the car should have come like that from the factory after it's lifted.
I don't know about you, but if you're a Prius owner, how many times have you gone over a speed bump and bottomed out? That's not going to happen to me ever again. It's not just for off-road aspects, it is also for everyday driving.
So it's pretty cool to hear the positive reaction from everybody and really enjoying the way it's going.
Yeah, I'm already super excited. I'm going to take it off-road today, and I'll let you know how it goes. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
That was amazing. New clearance.
Oh. Yikes. Alignment. I typically suggest getting alignment afterwards. We do correct for camber and caster, but toe is one thing that you can't correct through a lift, so it's something you have to do physically. So I always say drive it, see how it feels. It should be minimal, if anything, noticeable with alignment, but it's something I suggest getting done.
That's what we're gonna do next, right, camper?
Having to relive my childhood now, putting the active
Wow, we have the coolest Prius. I'm like purposely hitting some things that would go around and I'm not bottoming out. Wow. All right, we're getting an alignment check, but it is a good idea after you get a lift to check your alignment, make sure you're all together. I did have actually a few questions when I posted this on my Instagram, and one question was, do you need to change your tires? The answer is no. I just used the exact same tires I had before. Okay. Woo! It's party time. We're really taking this Prius off-road, aren't we, baby? Now I can go places like this, huh, camper? Thanks, Prius Off-Road. We are so excited. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share with your friends, and Camper and myself will teach you everything you need to know and show you everything you need to see. Also, don't forget, if you want to get your Prius lifted, go check out Prius Off-Road. He is amazing.